Hey guys, Top 5 here with episode number 40 of our West Brom career mode on FIFA 20. I'm kicking it off with some transfer action. First of which is going to be an offer for Billy Gilmour from, is that Bilbao or is that Sevilla? I think it's, Bilbao. And they're going in for Billy Gilmour, who's not a Basque player, so they shouldn't be allowed to sign him. But we will agree on a deal there, and also an offer from Caligari for Mr. Field. So both of those will be leaving us in January. We made a brilliant profit on Billy Gilmour. We signed him from Chelsea in the first season. I think he was one of our first signings we made. And we've just gone and sold him on for, I don't know how many times more than we actually bought him for. It's really good to see. He's contributed well over the past 3 seasons, but it's time for him to move on. He's not really played all too much in the whole the whole career mode. He hasn't really played that much, and we have got youth players that are coming up and are just as high rated as him. Obviously a little bit of training, they'll be just as high, but Fabinho goes and tucks one home when we are taking on Liverpool, and it's not the way you want to start a game really. Liverpool going 1-0 up very early on, and when that happens it's usually the floodgates open and it's all downhill from there. But defending poorly again, we allow Firmino to get a shot off in the same corner that Fabinho just scored in. From a free kick though, Chukwueze lays it off to Tomori. He tries to get it into Çalhanoğlu, but they do clear it away. Falls to Reece James though, takes it down quite nicely actually, and looks to start an attack of his own. No real options to pass to, decides to switch it to Lewis, who very luckily gets the ball to Dave Scott after some confusion between Alexander-Arnold and someone. But Marlon receives the ball, plays it through to Çalhanoğlu. His shot is blocked by Van Dijk, but it goes straight into the path of Marlon, who strikes it across goal. It is now 1-1. We got very lucky in that build-up. Obviously, out wide, we got lucky that Dave Scott got the ball. Very lucky that the ball actually fell to Marlon after the tackle from Van Dijk. But 27 minutes into the game, Oxlade-Chamberlain in the midfield, driving forward actually. Good tackle there by Reece James. Straight up to Marlon, and he's going to turn and he's just going to run at the fence. Really nicely. Gets past Lewis, who must be one of their youth players. Strikes it across goal. Very similar to the goal he actually scored, but off target. And we will have to go again. 31 minutes in. They're going to work their way upfield here through Firmino. He's got Salah out wide making a run. Decides to be quite selfish there and go his own. Actually loses out in possession, and we do counter-attack here as Chukwueze's played through. Alisson shows incredible speed to get to that one before Chukwueze, and he does clear it away. Somehow he got to that before Chukwueze, I'm not quite sure. But Dave Scott intercepts the ball and plays it centrally to Tonali. He's going to play it to Chukwueze. He plays a little 1-2 with Reece James, but instead of going back to Chukwueze, it goes to Tonali, who dinks it over the top. We've got a man over, and we're going to dink it across to Marlon. Strikes it nicely. Again going for that left-hand side. But again, Alisson has got it covered just before half-time. Mo Salah against Jamal Lewis. And he decides to play it back to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who himself is charging forward. Looks to get the better of Harper, actually does so really nicely into Firmino, strikes it. Collins has got that one covered, but it falls to Mane. Whips it across. Poor goalkeeping there from Collins as they go 2-1 up. And I think it was Grujic, a player we tried to sign a couple of seasons ago. He goes and nods that one home. And we are 2-1 down going into half-time. Right as the referee was just about to blow his whistle, they scored that one. So we are going to have to attack from the outset on this second half. Ball's laid back across to Harper. Lovely little ball initially to get to Marlon. But it's not over there. Chukwueze finds Tonali. Back to Harper. And then he gets tackled. We're going to try and intercept the ball again, but we cannot. And Liverpool are defending brilliantly. There's 9 minutes left in this match. Oxlade-Chamberlain on the attack. He plays it to Grujic, the goal scorer, who's, as of right now, scored the winning goal. But we play the ball through to Van Dijk. We play it through to Scott, who gets taken out by Van Dijk. No real strength shown there. Just absolutely obliterated by Van Dijk. But Mane, down this right-hand side. Good defending by Tonali, comes out wide to cover for Reece James. They play it in, Tomori intercepts, and we've got the counter-attack here. 3 minutes left. Dave Scott's ahead of Trent Alexander-Arnold. They're both absolutely knackered. 2 minutes left though. And Dave Scott does it. He puts it into that top right-hand corner. It actually hits the post. So luckily for us, it hits the post and goes in, instead of hitting the post and go out. But the final chance here, Salah's cross just right into the hands of Collins. And that is actually how the game's going to end. A 2-2 draw. And I'd say it was a very fair draw. It was a back and forth game. Definitely deserved draw from us. We didn't deserve a win. We weren't attacking that good and we weren't defending that good. And yeah, we move on to the London Stadium where we take on West Ham. As Dave Scott, the man that got us back level in the previous game, he's going to play it centrally to Çalhanoğlu. First time to Marlon. Marlon first time to Chukwueze. Takes a touch, strikes it, and then the header into the back of the net. Very fortunate that the rebound from that shot bounced up for him and he could just nod it home into the back of the net. And it is 1-0 very early on into this game. It's a brilliant counter-attack. And as I said, a very fortunate goal, really, to fall back to him in such a manner. But Tonali, he's playing the ball out to the goal scorer. Marlon looks to get the better of Acerbi. Does so brilliantly. Acerbi goes in for the tackle. Misses the ball, really. Cuts inside for a little Ronaldo chop. Strikes it. Great save by the keeper. Dave Scott takes it down. He's going to play it to the edge of the box to Harper. Poor shot by Harper. Could have been 2-0 up there from that Marlon shot. But it was a very, very good save by the West Ham goalkeeper. Çalhanoğlu, who's going to thread through Marlon again. He's got to the better of the defender. He's on the outside. He's going to cut inside again. Similar shot. Once again, it's saved. And once again, the rebound goes blazing over the crossbar. This time by our other centre mid in Tonali. 32 minutes in though, West Ham are going on the attack. Felipe Anderson looks to get the better of Reece James. Instead he goes into Fornals. Fornals is in the box, dribbling nicely, but Tomori intercepts and could have us set up for a brilliant counter-attack here. Çalhanoğlu to Chukwueze. Look at their defence. They are not quick enough. Çalhanoğlu's on the edge of the box, unmarked. Into the box, bang! Chukwueze spotted him. He knew where he was. He saw he was unmarked. He laid it across. First time strike by Çalhanoğlu. Doubles our lead. 2-0 as we move into the second half. Harper with a couple of stepovers. Just trying to find a bit of space. Can't quite find any forwards. So he goes back to Tonali. Tonali sees Reece James in huge amounts of space. He, again, can't really find anyone. So he goes to Tonali. Tonali first time to Harper. Harper cuts inside. Plays it through to Çalhanoğlu. Strikes it. And a really, really difficult angle. Just hits that one with the outside of his boot. And he just sneaks it in. Hits the post. Goes in. Again, it's a very similar one. Could have hit the post and went out. But luckily for us, it did hit the post and go in. Felipe Anderson skips past the tackle of Reece James there. Down this left-hand side, he's got one man in the box. Two men, late arrivals. As Fornals receives the ball. Turns brilliantly, but his ball there to Wu Lee. Absolutely terrible. Alvarez, though, has come on at the cam position. He's going to play the ball to Chukwueze. Tonali. Tonali to Livermore. Livermore out wide to Dave Scott. First time into Alvarez. Looks to get the better of the defender. Ogbonna sends him to the shops. Strikes it. Saved. And Marlon's there to tuck in the rebound. Fabianski's had a really good game. It's just he's conceded 4 goals. But he's had a really good game. Alvarez, though, just absolutely mugged off a very experienced defender in Ogbonna. And he's not done there as Alvarez plays the ball to Dave Scott. Down this left-hand side, he's got so much free space to run into. Brilliant switch of play there to Chukwueze. Takes it down. He's going to then try and play it across to Marlon. Fabianski's there to clear it away, though. And it's still only 4-0. It's still 4-0. As Livermore plays the ball to Alvarez. Alvarez to Tonali. Tonali to Alvarez. To Livermore. Just passing it brilliantly here. Livermore up to Marlon. He's going to look to get the better of Ogbonna. Does so. Strikes it. Great save, Fabianski, once again. Still keeping the scores at 4-0. Again, if it wasn't him, we could have a similar Wolves versus West Ham game. If you remember that one from a couple of months ago. We beat him 8-0. But Alvarez on a brilliant run here. He's beat the whole defence. Strikes it across goal. But again, Fabianski is there to deny him that opportunity at scoring. And the game ends as a 4-0 victory. As I said, if it wasn't Fabianski in goal, if it's someone else, they definitely would have lost this one by much, much more. We could have had double digits. But, alas, it was only 4-0. 2 goals for Çalhanoğlu, 2 very impressive goals. And we move on, really. Nothing really to say about that game, apart from we were just so much better than West Ham going forward and defensively. Felipe Anderson couldn't get into the game. Fornals couldn't really get into the game. And we just shut them down. But you can see here, Gilmour and Field have both been sold. That's about 10 million going into our transfer budget for January. I don't really know if we can get maybe a pre-contract signing or maybe just try and sign a rotation player. I'm not quite sure yet. But 3 minutes into this game against Spurs, with the final game of the episode, we actually hit the post with a brilliant Harper effort there. Half an hour after that, though, Pereira gets tackled by Lewis, and we could have a counter-attack going on here. He's got no real options to pass to and actually loses the ball back out to Pereira. Dele Alli into Harry Kane. Looks to turn his defender, holding him off brilliantly. Lays it to then Neuhaus into Harry Kane. Strikes it. Well saved. We clear it only as far as Sergio Roberto. And he has pretty much open net to just strike that one into. He decides to go a bit fancy. And he does a scissor kick. Goes to celebrate with Poch. And just before half-time, they look to double their lead here. Sergio Roberto, the goal scorer, plays it to Harry Kane. Laid off to Oliver Skip. Neuhaus receives the blocked ball. Roberto, the goal scorer, into Neuhaus. Strikes it. Very, very easily saved by Collins. Moving into the second half. Dave Scott looks to get the better of Pereira. Instead, he's going to play all the way through to Jamal Lewis. Lovely little play there. Cuts inside with a nice little fake shot. Tripped up by Keita Balde, who scored that brilliant goal against us last season. Penalty. Çalhanoğlu steps up. Çalhanoğlu puts it into the back of the net. 1-0 is now 1-1. Çalhanoğlu with a lovely little penalty. It was a definite penalty. Really, really nice little bit of dribbling by Lewis to cause, obviously, the not so defensively minded Keita Balde to make that tackle. With 8 minutes left, though, he drills it across to Christian Eriksen. Takes it in his stride nicely. Gets the better of Diallo to Harry Kane. That's a poor header. Collins can easily catch it, and he plays it to Tonali. We've got a counter-attack here. 7 minutes left in the game. Çalhanoğlu, back heel to Marlon. Really nice little bit of skill there. Marlon's dribbling, finds Scott. Scott's going to play it back through to Marlon. He's got a lot of space on the outside, decides to go inside, gets the better of Ake for pace. He's going to go across goal. First initial shot was blocked, they clear it away. Reece James takes it down. He's going to play it back to Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu turns, plays it to Marlon, strikes it across goal. And with 3 minutes left in the game, Marlon makes it 2-1 for the first time in the game. We are ahead. And it's Çalhanoğlu again with just his creativity. He's got a goal and an assist in this game. He's flipped it on its head individually there. And it's 2-1. A victory for us. We beat Spurs. I think that's the first time we've beat Spurs. I think we drew against them and lost against them last season. So our first win against Spurs. It's brilliant to see. It's brilliant performances by Çalhanoğlu in this episode. Marlon did very good as well. Alvarez came into the squad, did good. Dave Scott, very good. And that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Brilliant performances for all this episode. And next episode we'll reveal who we get in the knockout rounds of the Champions League. Peace.